We're going to talk about Deandre Ayton. So this news came out this morning, or Tuesday morning, I should say. All Reliable, Adrian Wojnarowski reported that the Phoenix Suns and Deandre Ayton have come to a stalemate on contract negotiations. He published this article 10 o'clock Eastern. Wow. Yeah, this is definitely something that Deandre Ayton wanted his camp to put out. 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. On a Tuesday. During preseason, when the only shit that's happening are the games, where really there's no news coming out. The Phoenix Suns' reluctance to offer a max rookie contract extension to former number one pick Deandre Ayton has stalled discussions on a deal, sources told ESPN on Tuesday. Ayton, a key part of the Suns' run to the 2021 NBA Finals, has no intention of accepting a deal less than the comparable max contracts signed by several of his 2018 draft mates, including Trae Young, Luka Doncic, SGA, and most recently, Michael Porter Jr. Ayton, 23, is eligible for a 5-year, $172.5 million extension with escalators that could reach $207 million, a deal that many executives league-wide expected would become complete in short order this offseason. But now, with a looming October 18th deadline for the rookie extensions, sources said between the sources, the marinara sauces. The sources said the talks between the Suns and Ayton's reps have been slowed by ownership's current assertion that Ayton doesn't deserve to be included in that group of players, and a belief by the 7-footer that his performance, the potential, and the marketplace dictate that he does. What a fucking slap in the face by Robert Sarver to say that your 23-year-old big man, the guy who averaged 14 and 10 throughout the regular season, who shot upwards of 60% consistently throughout the playoffs, who was one of the better interior defenders throughout the entirety of the regular season, who held opponents to like 6 percentage points below the league average on shots inside of 6 feet. Imagine being able to say with a straight face that he does not deserve a max contract extension, especially after Michael Porter Jr. got this same extension after just one good season. Hilarious. The Suns are back. The Suns are back, guys. The Suns are back. Just months after making it to the NBA Finals, the Suns are back. Without a deal, Ayton could become a restricted free agent next summer. The Suns keep matching rights on any offer sheet next year, but risk creating a level of acrimony, I don't even know what that word means, with Ayton that could impact the team's long-term relationship with him and the pursuit of another Western Conference championship. A significant part of Ayton's development and maturity has revolved around the relationship and trust he's built with head coach Monty Williams in their 2 seasons together. That would be tested should Ayton spend the season believing he's headed to restricted free agency. Ayton blossomed under Williams, becoming the two-way force the Suns imagined when selecting him at number 1 3 years ago. Now, it is important to remember that the reluctance to give Ayton a contract extension is the result of ownership, not James Jones, and not Monty Williams. Monty Williams, I'm almost certain, wants Deandre Ayton to stay. I'm sure all the players want this whole controversy pushed behind them by the beginning of the season. But Robert Sarver, whatever the fuck his name is, doesn't want to pay the luxury tax. I'm pretty sure that's the holdup here. It's not that he is not confident in Ayton's abilities. It's that he does not want to pay out of pocket to bring a championship. Meanwhile, when you are the owner of a sports team, it is literally your job to build a championship level team. You're not running it like a traditional business to make money. Of course, making money is great, but you want to produce high caliber players and win championships. You want guys to win MVPs. You want to bring home championships. That's what we're doing here. But the Suns simply don't want to do that. It's Sarver, Sarver. If Suns owner Robert Sarver doesn't come to an agreement with Ayton before the deadline, it will certainly raise questions about his commitment to constructing a sustainable contender in the Western Conference. Yeah, if you're not willing to spend the money on a homegrown talent, not even a year, literally 3 fucking months after going to the NBA Finals, when will you? Will you only splurge on super duper stars? Because I don't think that negative PR like this is going to encourage guys to come to Phoenix, because you did it for Devin Booker, obviously. You gave Chris Paul a super sus contract 4 years, $120 million, and he's like 36 years old. But you don't want to pay Deandre Ayton max money, comparable to his peers, when his production, or maybe not his production is a little lower than, other number one overall picks, but his impact on your team is on par with that of someone like Trae Young, of someone like Michael Porter Jr., of someone like Luka Doncic. You're not going to want to pay for that. This is going to quickly turn into a disaster. It's going to turn into a disaster. Sarver hasn't paid luxury tax as Suns owner since the 2009-10 season, a full decade before the franchise returned to the playoffs in 2020-2021. There were long questions about Sarver's decision to trade future All-Star guard Joe Johnson in 2005 instead of extending his contract, a move that many believe cost the Suns a championship in the Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire era. 100%. Nash and Stat were an amazing duo. And it just sucks that they ran into teams like the Lakers, the Spurs, the Dallas Mavericks. But guess what, man? You would have fared much better if you had somebody like Joe Johnson. Deandre Ayton is a Joe Johnson. Just the play style is a little bit different. Like the Suns are an upper echelon team in the West. And DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker will keep them that for the next couple of years. But Sarver does not want to make that happen. Woj also he adds an anecdote. He adds an anecdote about many contending teams have 3 max players on the roster. For example, Denver had Porter join league MVP Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray with 3 maxes this summer. Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, James Harden. Or Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, James Harden. I love Kyrie, but Steph would be pretty nice. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, and Jrue Holiday doesn't have a max, but I think that if he asked Milwaukee for it, they'd be like, yeah, fuck it, no questions. Moving on. Ayton averaged 14 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 1.2 blocks a game in his 3rd season. Among his playoff successes, according to ESPN Stats and Info, his 66% postseason field goal percentage was the highest in NBA history. He shot at least 50% in 17 straight games, trailing only Shaquille O'Neal for the longest postseason streak in league history. Ayton held NBA Finals MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo to 53% shooting as his primary defender in the finals, while Giannis shot 70% against the rest of the Suns. Ayton and Paul's partnership was one of the most productive in the league last season, with Paul assisting on 143 of Ayton's baskets. Only Steph Curry and Draymond Green had more as a combination. I don't understand why there is an impasse. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for these guys to be stun locked on a contract extension. It's a dumb move by Suns ownership. They're going to cost themselves a lot of playoff success, and they're just going to fracture their relationship with their fans, because when was the last time up until recently that Phoenix Suns fans had something to root for? I can say this myself as a Brooklyn Nets fan. We had runs where we had players to root for, but it really didn't happen until D'Angelo Russell came, Caris LeVert came, and now it's blossomed into this. The Suns had that phase, and now they're, again, in the contender phase. And you're going to let that evaporate after one season? Pay the luxury tax, suck it the fuck up, and try to bring a championship to your city. Like, sports in Arizona, it's looking pretty good right now, at least as far as football and basketball are concerned. I can't attest to the MLB, but I think I'm going to close it out with that.